My name is Philip Koblenz. I'm the co-founder and COO of NYI. We run mission critical data centers and high touch managed hosting services across the United States, primarily in our facilities in New York City and outside of Chicago, along with partnerships globally with all sorts of companies for which we're managing services, et cetera.
Could you give me a bit more of an overview of the company, sort of about its operations in the industry and how you help enterprises on their digital transformation journey?
Sure. We're fairly unique for New York City in that we own, operate, and maintain our own facilities. There's been so much M&A activity in our world that it's rare for a company to have survived and maintained the longevity that we have with our size, with fairly small facilities. Our facilities tend to be between 1 and 2 megawatts, and then provide all sorts of managed services and what we call higher touch services, which is to say that we'll be involved to the extent possible with the management of their infrastructure, not necessarily their application, but certainly to the extent that we can fill capabilities gaps within these organizations, and they can look at NYI as an extension of their team. That serves as the key differentiator between other data center type companies that are more real estate focused, like the Equinix's, Core Sites, and DRTs of the world.
So on digital transformation, sort of more broadly, how have you seen the sector change in recent years, and how has that shaped your own digital strategy at your company?
When we started back in '96, nobody even knew that they really needed a website or needed high-speed internet access. So, the evolution of that to, companies recognizing that they needed to have a presence online in order for customers to find them, because the traditional kind of brochures and magazines and advertising were kind of migrating to online, to a full recognition that their infrastructure in the office, the way they store files, the way they they conduct their business, needed to transform to something digitally in order to maintain that flexibility and maintain the ability to attract not just customers but employees that needed to be able to do things like work from home, like work from anywhere, like being able to integrate between satellite offices and having centralized access to certain files. Partnership with companies like ours that can not only help facilitate some of that infrastructure but can help guide the customers in terms of a kind of consultative, solutions oriented approach to these types of deployments.
Could you tell me a bit more about your relationship with Server Farm and expand on the services you offer and what benefits they gain from working with you or using your technology?
Absolutely. So, the thing that's amazing about Server Farm and companies like Server Farm is they fill a gap that we don't have. Our industry, the data center and the critical infrastructure industry, tends to be, fairly nuanced. The people that are outside the industry see it as, blinky lights in large air-conditioned rooms. And the people from within the industry recognize that there are wholesale, hyperscale providers, retail providers, and just a full range of requirements when it comes to the various types of verticals and customers that leverage critical infrastructure. So Server Farm specializes in these kind of large scale builds, multi megawatt, properties that are top notch and maintained to the nines with multiple levels of generation, power generation, and these high tier deployments. The other area where Server Farm and NYI align is just Server Farm's understanding and pivot towards the recognition that where the current customer, when the current customer is deploying in a large scale data center, they want a cloud-like experience, right? So they've spent a lot of time trying to create software that manages these large-scale operations, and that's something that our customers benefit from. It's something that Server Farm's customers certainly benefit from. And if you put those three things together, their software to manage those infrastructures, their access to large-scale facilities, and our ability on the consultative side to help smaller and medium-sized businesses that might not have, the depth within their staff to optimize the way they deploy within those facilities, but might have, the requirement of those facilities as their critical infrastructure needs continue to grow. You have a kind of a winning combination.
So how would you sort of describe your partnership with Server Farm, and how important is close collaboration to any successful project?
I think it's unique for a company to have the type of assets that Server Farm has access to, and the type of accessibility from a management standpoint that we've been able to achieve with Server Farm and Avner and Mario and the entire team there. Usually, the larger scale facilities are, significantly more bureaucratic and less flexible, and just don't necessarily align with, the way we do business and the way we need to achieve accountability and flexibility to our customers. So it's incredibly important and incredibly unique that we're able to partner with a company like that to really achieve the best of both worlds.
What are the key trends or technologies that will be key to future development, and how do you think these could contribute to your partnership with Server Farm?
The key is interconnection, no doubt, right? So you have, as companies continue to evolve on their path to digital transformation, as companies continue to, migrate many of their workloads to various, public cloud providers, whether it's Google or Amazon or Oracle, it's incumbent upon providers to find unique ways to facilitate interconnection for their customers. So where previously it was just about, finding the space and power, and the customers were kind of on their own in terms of determining, how to effectively integrate connectivity for those sites, it has now become, almost the first question that customers ask. So there's just a recognition that the world and every vertical is more and more reliant on data centers. And as an industry, it's important for us to, kind of communicate, all of the various components and just educate everyone on what their expectations should be.